One of our biggest treasures is health. We ought to take care of ourselves. No one else will do it for us. I only became aware of this when it happened, when trouble happened, because up until then, nobody gave me any advice about health. It's almost like they were observing and waiting for me to, get into trouble. And then they could rejoice and say, haha, welcome to our world. It's almost like everybody was jealous. When you're young and full of vitality, people are like, enjoy while it lasts. Nobody gives you advice. It's very hard to find people with enough wisdom that gives advice. Well, don't confuse people who, for the sake of money, just talk pretty much about anything because it has traction and they are making money out of it. Often giving advice, wise advice, doesn't imply, transaction of money at all. I suppose money muddies the waters. Oh, yes, it muddies the waters. Of course, capitalists would kill me if they hear me say that. But sometimes I think you are mistaking corporatism for capitalism. I think capitalism is dead for a long time. What we have now is corporatism. It's based on consumption. You know, it's based on mass consumption and not quality at all. So anyway, I forgot where I was. A neighbor of mine passed away recently. He was about 64. He had been struggling for years with disease. He was limping. He was a bit obese and full of inflammation. And the way the guy was walking and his demeanor, the guy was sick, you could see. He worked, cleaning the streets and stuff. He worked in that. He had to go on hiatus from time to time. My parents knew him around the same age, and they all know each other or knew each other, and they were saying, "Oh, that's so and so. That there he is doing, the cleaning and stuff." Yeah? And he was always sick recently. Around 60 years old, he asked for disability. It was denied. He asked for early retirement. It was denied as well. Well, in the past, they would give early retirement to people. They would calculate and give substantially less as a retirement, but they would give you a retirement instead of waiting until you got into the full, into the limit. But now it seems so many people are asking it, they decided to cut that option off because they moved the goalpost a few years. It used to be 65, now it's 67. And people just can't handle 67, it's too much. Anyway, at the age of 60, it was over, right? And still they had him working. He would go on hiatus because he couldn't handle it. He would stop for a couple of weeks, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the disposition of the doctor. But after some while, they would force him to go back into the working force. Now, lately, he couldn't do it anymore, so they cut all benefits and gave him some money for him to survive, which is very, very little. I think it is enough to eat. I don't know. Not in today's prices. Anyway, he got up. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. He got out of bed and he just collapsed. He was sick enough to pass away, but it wasn't sick enough to get retirement or disability. It was being followed by the system. We have this public, health system, and which I had the pleasure of knowing recently. It's been 30 years since I have been to the doctor here. I've been abroad, working abroad and living abroad, and recently I came back and they called me. Hey, you need to check in. You're this age, and we need to see you. And it's been 30 years. So I went there. What's up? Anyway, um, they are managing, disease. They don't cure disease. They just manage it. Insurances, doctors, and they just manage. It's corporatism. They are quite fond of selling you drugs, but once you say, I can't do this, I can't do that, I need this, I need that, no, that's a no-no. So I wouldn't put all my bets in this basket called retirement. I would find other ways, a savings account or something, you know, start um, splitting, what you have now into different bets, into different places, because it's not guaranteed. Governments come and go, and 40 years from now, it's not guaranteed that they're going to help you. It's going to that the money's going to be there. We don't know how the economy is going to be. So I've heard of other cases, people who actually gave more money than they should, double, triple, so they could have a handsome retirement. And they accept if you want to give more. If you're a boss, if you work for yourself, you can even if you work for others. I suppose you can give whatever you want, to that thing called, the retirement fund or whatever. But it's not guaranteed they're going to give it back when you retire. Because I know someone who got their, revenue cut in half because of politics and stuff, and that's a really hard one. That's a hard one. So don't put all your bets in that. Diversify. Another thing is, even if you get retired, don't stop. Because if you stop, then this thing, our body starts accumulating, starts, getting obese, inflammation sets in, and all sorts of problems start showing up. So you need to keep moving. Yeah? I mean, a good way to treat the spirit and the body is gardening, you know, growing some tomatoes, growing some cucumbers, align with the, rhythm of nature and get your seeds together, plan and move constantly. Because if you stop, if you get stuck in a couch or something, that's that's a death sentence almost. You know that nowadays they calculate 5 years after retirement. They calculate 5 years as an expectancy. Most people won't last. They start getting fat, eating too much, get lazy, and boom, inflammation takes care of them. Then, of course, you go to the doctor and they give you this drug, which has horrible side effects, and then they give you another drug to cure the other side effects, and another drug to cure. So, next time you notice you're taking like 10 pills, one to help you wake up, one to help you sleep, one to help you digest, another to help you go to the toilet, another to help you, it's gonna be crazy. Crazy. They don't manage disease. They don't manage health. They manage disease. You know, health is one of our biggest treasures, and we ought to be educated about it as early as possible. Anyway,